I was scrolling through our Friday 13 Discord server late one night when I stumbled across it. A story so twisted, so terrifying, it made my blood run cold. A dare that turned a thrill-seeker into a hunted man. A nightmare that didn't end when the sun came up. Welcome to Friday 13, where every tale is real, pulled straight from the shadows of our community. This story comes from Draken, a member of our community. Buckle up, because what Draken saw that night, it's still out there, waiting for its next victim. Draken's story kicks off in a sleepy little town, the kind of place where the biggest excitement is the annual fair. Until you look at the house on street. The locals called it the Devil's Den, and it wasn't just a catchy nickname. That house had a history, one soaked in blood and whispered about over generations. Back in the days, a family lived there. A mother, father, and their 2 kids. One night, they were found slaughtered in their beds, their throats slit, their eyes wide open in terror. The killer was never caught, but the rumors started fast. Some said it was the father, driven mad by something he saw in that house. Others claimed it was an outsider, a drifter who left a curse behind. By the time Draken and their friends were old enough to hear the stories, the house had been empty for decades, its walls stained with tragedy. Kids dared each other to touch the porch, but no one went inside. Not until Tommy. Draken told us it started like any other day. The group, Draken, Tommy, and a handful of others, were hanging out, bored out of their minds, when someone brought up the Devil's Den. The dare was simple. Go inside, climb to the second-floor room where the family died, and face the painting that hung there. A painting said to be cursed, its eyes following you, its presence driving people insane. They laughed about it at first, tossing around taunts and bets. But the air changed when Tommy stepped up. Thomas Page, Tommy to his friends, was the group's daredevil, the guy who'd jump off a bridge just to say he did it. With a cocky grin, he said, "I'll do it. I'll go alone." Draken tried to talk him out of it, warned him about the stories. People who went in didn't come back right, if they came back at all. But Tommy just laughed, his bravado drowning out the unease in his gut as he walked up that cracked driveway, the house looming over him like a predator sizing up its prey. Tommy crossed the threshold, and the door slammed shut behind him with a bang that echoed like a gunshot. The air inside was wrong, stale and oppressive, like the house hadn't exhaled in decades. Dust hung thick, swirling in the faint beams of light, and the smell hit him hard. Rot, damp wood, and something coppery, like old blood. The living room was frozen in time, furniture draped in white sheets, yellowed and torn, looming like shrouded figures. Every step he took sent a creak through the house, the sound bouncing off the walls, mocking him. He flicked on his flashlight, its beam slicing through the dark, but it only made the shadows deeper, more alive. His heart was pounding now, but Tommy wasn't the type to back down. He headed for the stairs, each step a test of his nerve. Draken said Tommy told them later, before he stopped talking altogether, that the house felt like it was breathing. The walls seemed to pulse, the air growing colder with every step. Halfway up the stairs, he heard it. A tapping, faint at first, like something testing the windows from the outside. He froze, swinging his flashlight around, but there was nothing, just the dark, pressing in closer. By the time he reached the second floor, his bravado was cracking. The hallway stretched out before him, lined with closed doors, each one a silent threat. He could feel eyes on him, a weight that made his skin crawl. But he didn't stop. He had to reach that room, had to see the painting. Maybe it was pride, maybe it was something else pulling him forward, something the house wanted.
Tommy,
pushed the door open, and the room hit him like a punch to the gut. The smell was overwhelming. Rot and something sour, like spoiled meat. His flashlight flickered, struggling against the dark, and then he saw it. The painting. It was massive, its frame warped and splintered, the canvas sagging under the weight of time. It showed a family, mother, father, 2 kids. But their faces were wrong. Their eyes were hollow pits, their mouths stretched into silent screams, their skin mottled and gray like corpses. Doctor said Tommy felt it instantly, a pull, like the painting was alive, reaching out for him. He couldn't move, couldn't blink. His body locked in place as those empty eyes bored into him. The air turned ice cold, and then he felt it, something wet trickling down his neck. He reached up, and his fingers came away red. Blood. He looked up, and the ceiling was weeping, crimson dripping down in slow, thick streams, pooling at his feet. Have you ever stared into something so wrong? It felt like it was staring back. Tommy told Draken that the painting wasn't just a picture, it was a trap. The longer he looked, the more he felt it pulling him in, like it wanted to swallow him whole. His head pounded, his vision blurred, and the whispers started, low and garbled, like voices underwater, calling his name. Panic took over, and he bolted, stumbling up the stairs to the attic. The blood still dripping, the whispers chasing him. He didn't know where he was going, just that he had to get away. Tommy crashed into the attic, his screams bouncing off the slanted walls. That's when he saw her, a woman's body, sprawled in the corner, her flesh peeling away, her eyes gone, replaced by wriggling maggots. The smell was unbearable, a mix of decay and something sickly sweet. But Tommy didn't run. Doctor said he wrote about what happened next in a shaky, frantic scrawl. A hunger hit him, sudden and feral, like nothing he'd ever felt. He dropped to his knees, clawing at the body, tearing into her with his bare hands. Lies poured out as he ripped into her chest, her arms, her legs, the taste of rot filling his mouth. His body was covered in scratches, deep, jagged marks, like something had caught him back. But he didn't stop. Guilt surged through him, a fleeting stab of sanity, but the madness drowned it out. He felt alive, unburdened, like he could forget everything. It's hard to imagine what went through Tommy's head in that moment, or if he was even Tommy anymore. He patched himself up with a rusted first aid kit he found nearby, wrapping his wounds in dirty bandages, ignoring the sting. He kept moving, driven by something he couldn't name. In the corner, he spotted a ladder, rickety, stained, with the words, "To Hell," carved into a sign above it. The letters smeared in what looked like blood. Draken said Tommy wrote that no one who climbed it ever came back, but he didn't hesitate. He climbed, the rungs groaning under his weight, the darkness swallowing him as he ascended into the unknown. Tommy stumbled into the room, the ladder dropping him into a void. His flashlight was useless, so he swung his arms until he hit a switch. The light buzzed on, and there it was. A rat buzzied on, and there it was. A rat, decapitated, its blood still fresh. That hunger flared again, and he didn't hesitate. He grabbed it, swallowing it whole, the taste bitter and cold on his tongue. He searched the room, desperate for a way out, and found a closet. Inside, a clown costume. Red and yellow, stained with dirt and something darker. A hatchet and a shotgun with no ammo. Draken said Tommy thought it belonged to a killer, maybe the one who'd started all this. But he didn't care. He took the hatchet and shotgun, clutching them like lifelines. When the sound started, scratches, growls, the patter of feet in the walls. Something was coming. Tommy loaded the shotgun with ammo he found nearby. His hands steady despite the fear. The scratches grew louder, closer. Rats, demons, something worse. And he braced himself. The house was shifting around him, the holes stretching around him, the walls groaning like they were alive. He glanced out a window, hoping for help, but the street was empty, the world beyond the glass, warped and silent. Then he saw it, a small wooden box on a table, etched with strange symbols. He opened it, and screams erupted, fire flaring inside, showing him faces. The family from the painting, the woman in the attic, all trapped, all pleading. He slammed it shut, but the house wasn't a house anymore.
It was a prison, a nightmare with no end.
Tommy thought it was over, that he'd imagined it all, until a dart pierced his neck. He woke up chained to a bed, the metal biting into his wrists, a clown standing over him. Its grin was wide, too wide, its teeth stained yellow and red. Dr. Dan said Tommy screamed as it raised a knife, the blade glinting in the flickering light. It sliced off his finger, clean, precise, and blood poured out, pooling on the floor. The pain was white-hot, searing through him, and the clown laughed, a sound that drilled into his skull. Then it turned and left, leaving him bleeding, alone, the chains rattling as he fought to break free. Tommy tore free, wrapping his severed finger with a strip of his shirt, the blood soaking through. He stumbled through the house, smashing a window with a brick, screaming for help, but the world outside was wrong. His friends stood there, frozen like statues, their eyes blank, their mouths open in silent screams. Despair clawed at him, but then he found it, a loaded gun, hidden under a floorboard. He gripped it, the weight grounding him. The hunted became the hunter. He returned to the room, waiting, gun raised, until the clown came back. "You're done," he said, pressing the barrel to its head. The clown laughed. "You think you can kill me?" And Tommy pulled the trigger. The clown's head exploded, blood and paint splattering the walls, but it swung a sledgehammer with its dying breath. Tommy woke up, again, in a bed, sunlight pouring in, the sound of kids laughing outside. The camp counselor, Jay, grinned down at him. "Well, you're finally awake," Jay said. Tommy nodded, shaky. "Yeah, just a weird nightmare," Jay laughed. "Sounds epic. Breakfast time." Tommy followed, picking at his food, sitting with a group of kids, the normalcy washing over him. An alarm blared, and they gathered by a water fountain. He took a sip, and then Jaden burst from the bathroom, yelling about a clown with a hand in its mouth. Tommy laughed, thinking it was a joke, until he saw it too. Relief turned to terror in an instant. The kids laughed at Tommy, until a campus head rolled across the floor, blood spraying everywhere. Chaos erupted, and Tommy felt it, a knife in his side, poisoned, burning. He collapsed, darkness swallowing him. He woke up, again, in his own bed at home, the nightmare finally over. He stumbled downstairs, gulped water, and froze. A demon stood by his mother, its claws dripping, its eyes black. He ran outside, the horror chasing him into the daylight. This wasn't a dream, it was real. October 13th, 2000. Doctor carries the scars, the proof, the fear. Check the comments. I'll share what I can. Tommy made it out, but he wasn't the same. Draken said he stopped talking about that night, his cocky grin replaced by a haunted stare. He'd flinch at shadows, wake up screaming about clowns and paintings. His friends drifted away, scared of the darkness he carried. The Devil's Den still stands, untouched, its windows watching the town like eyes that never blink. Draken swears they saw Tommy go back once, standing at the edge of the driveway, staring at the house like it was calling him. Maybe it was. What would you do if a dare pulled you into a nightmare you couldn't escape? Tommy's story isn't just a tale, it's a warning. The virus of dares spreads, waiting for the next fool to step inside. That's Draken's story, straight from the heart of our Friday 13 Discord server. I'm so thankful they shared it with us. It's raw, real, and terrifying. Got a horror story of your own? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this chilled you to the bone, smash that like button, subscribe, and join our Discord. Links in the bio. Share your scariest experiences, and we might feature them next. This is Friday 13, signing off. But the darkness never sleeps.